The Wendigo's curse. In the remote forests of northern Minnesota, there lies a small, forgotten town named Ashwood. Encircled by dense woods and ancient legends, Ashwood was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone else, and secrets were hard to keep. The air was thick with the scent of pine and the whispers of old tales, particularly one that parents used to keep their children in line, the legend of the Wendigo. It was said that the Wendigo, a malevolent spirit with an insatiable hunger for human flesh, roamed the woods during the cold winter months. This creature, born from the darkest parts of human nature, would possess those who succumbed to greed or who dared to wander too far into the forest alone. One particularly harsh winter, when the snowdrifts reached up to the windowsills and the nights stretched longer than ever, a young boy named Tommy disappeared. Tommy was known for his curiosity and his tendency to explore places he shouldn't. His mother, Sarah, a single parent struggling to make ends meet, had warned him countless times about the dangers of the forest, especially after dark. The town came together in search parties, braving the biting cold and the treacherous terrain. They scoured the woods, calling out Tommy's name, but their voices were swallowed by the wind and the falling snow. After days of fruitless searching, hope began to wane, and whispers of the Wendigo started to circulate once more. One night, as Sarah sat by the fireplace, staring at the last photograph she had taken of Tommy, a sharp knock echoed through her small cabin. She hurried to the door, hope flickering in her eyes, but it was just Old Man Thompson, the town's unofficial historian and a firm believer in the supernatural. "Sarah, I need to talk to you," he said, his voice grave. He carried a worn leather-bound book, its pages yellowed with age. "I think the Wendigo has taken Tommy." Sarah's heart clenched. She had always dismissed the stories as mere folklore, but now, with her son missing, she was desperate enough to consider anything. Thompson flipped through the book, showing her ancient drawings and descriptions of the creature. "The Wendigo is not just a monster, Sarah. It's a curse. It takes those who are lost and desperate, turning them into something unnatural." Determined to save her son, Sarah decided to venture into the forest alone, despite Thompson's warnings. Armed with nothing but a lantern, a thick coat, and the photograph of Tommy, she braved the night. The forest was eerily silent, the only sound being the crunch of her boots in the snow. As she moved deeper, the trees seemed to close in around her, their branches twisting like skeletal fingers. Sarah called out for Tommy, her voice trembling but persistent. Hours passed, and Sarah began to feel the cold seeping into her bones. Just as she was about to turn back, she heard a faint whisper, almost drowned out by the wind. It was Tommy's voice. She followed the sound, her heart pounding. The whispers grew louder, leading her to a small clearing. There, in the center, stood a figure. It was Tommy, but something was horribly wrong. His eyes were vacant, and his skin was pale and stretched too tightly over his bones. "Tommy?" she called out, her voice breaking. "Mom?" he responded, but his voice was hollow, devoid of emotion. "I'm so hungry." Before she could react, a shadowy form emerged from behind Tommy. It was the Wendigo, tall and gaunt, with glowing red eyes and sharp, jagged teeth. It was the embodiment of every nightmare Sarah had ever had. The creature's claws rested possessively on Tommy's shoulder. "You cannot have him," the Wendigo hissed, its voice like the rustling of dead leaves. He is mine now. Sarah's maternal instincts took over. She charged at the creature, swinging the lantern. The Wendigo recoiled, hissing in anger. "Give me back my son!" she screamed. The creature lashed out, its claws slicing through the air. But Sarah was relentless. She struck it again and again, each blow fueled by her love and desperation. Finally, she smashed the lantern at its feet, causing a burst of flame. The Wendigo shrieked, releasing Tommy. The boy fell to the ground, and Sarah rushed to his side, pulling him away from the burning creature. The flames consumed the Wendigo, its screams echoing through the forest until there was nothing left but silence and the faint smell of burnt pine. Sarah cradled Tommy in her arms, tears streaming down her face. He was weak but alive. Together, they made their way back to Ashwood, the first light of dawn breaking through the trees. The townspeople were amazed and relieved when they saw Sarah and Tommy return. Old Man Thompson nodded approvingly, acknowledging the strength of a mother's love and the power it held. Though the legend of the Wendigo would continue to haunt Ashwood, the story of Sarah's bravery and her unyielding determination to save her son became a new part of the town's folklore, a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. Years later, Sarah and Tommy would occasionally walk through the forest, remembering the night they faced the Wendigo. The scars remained, both physical and emotional, but they had each other, and that was enough to keep the darkness at bay. And so, the tale of the Wendigo and the courageous mother who defeated it lived on, a reminder of the strength found in love and the resilience of the human spirit.